Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Delta T Racing. It is Thursday night, so it's time for Division number 5, wrapping up this week's events at the Hungaroring in Hungary, near Budapest. So, just waiting for a menu to come up or anything. I wonder if we have a bit of a glitch going on here. Okay, we seem to be stuck with Okay, apologies. We are still waiting for it to load. Wonder if we've got a lobby issue, whether we're going to have to reset. But in the meantime, whilst we are waiting for that, let's have a quick look at the tables. As a Hanslbua leading the way on 129 points from Kurznikov in second place, 105 points, a 24-point lead there. Kurznikov no longer racing, so obviously that gap is only going to increase. But then you've got Kudor and Prizephantom in third and fourth respectively, and Havoc Connor in fifth. So they're still part of the chasing pack and been doing very, very well recently, especially Prizephantom. If he can just get a couple of his overtakes under control, I'm sure he'd be looking at being a favourite for the win again today. So still waiting for the lobby to load. I have a feeling that we might have to end this Oh, okay, so Havoc has left and it looks like we are going now, so hopefully Havoc can get himself back in, but it's good for us that we are I finally can get a bit of racing. Apologies, we're just still waiting to find out if we're going to continue with this lobby or have a reset. We don't seem to have anybody obviously leaving the pits at the moment. Okay, looks like we do have some movement, so we are going to stay with this lobby. Unfortunately, it looks like Havoc Connor was causing the issue slightly, but hopefully he can get back in and reconnect and be part of the 17-man grid that we have here tonight. So I'm going to break from tradition. I normally jump on with the first person out of the pits, which is Prize. Actually, I'm going to keep an eye on him, but I want to keep an eye on the McLaren of Hans as well. I think he's switched off some assists recently, so he's been struggling a little bit just getting to grips with it, but I think he's pretty much getting there now, and I've got a feeling he's going to be back on it again tonight. Okay, so Prize will be the first person to set a lap time. I say he's been very impressive in qualifying and in the races recently. Just needs to improve a little bit on his racecraft, a little bit more patience, lining up a move rather than forcing his way through. And I'm sure he will. Well, I think the wins will definitely come for him. But yeah, just needs to cut out those little mistakes. But let's jump on board with him now, as coming down the start-finish line up to turn number 1. Just clips the apex there to curb on the outside, a little bit of wheel spin on the back. That's going to cost him a couple of attempts. But as we're heading down into turn number 2, turn 3, difficult one to get right here, up the hill into the fast left full. Turn 4 can quite easily spit you out here. Here we were down turn 5, a curb of death on the inside there. If you touch it, you are round. now up to the chicane, right, left, with those big sausage curbs now making it more difficult. You can't quite take the straight line that you used to be able to. Also a very technical section here through turns 8 and through 7, 8, 9 and 10, and it catching MBB out there. So unfortunately he will not be setting that provisional pole position. Oh, Frax has crashed into... Oh dear, right, so a bit of a qualifying incident there. Prize spinning, didn't quite see what happened, but obviously Frax hitting him for whatever reason, whether there was movement on track or whether he was just unsighted. But Hans now coming through, double putting a 19 on, and Hanslbua putting a 16.8. That is a blooming handy lap, putting down a really good benchmark there. 8.8 of a second quicker than the second place of Nerdy. Has jumped on board with Chef, who was last week's winner. 18.144 for him, up into third place, as they pulled a master stroke in last week's races. Not actually pitting at all on the I think it was the wet tyres, and yep, taking his maiden victory there. So Brother Adam into 6. Who have we got on a lap that I can jump on with? Havoc. How's Havoc getting on? A little bit too much curb on the inside there. Not sure if he's getting put off slightly by the McLaren in front of him, but I think the McLaren is on a lap as well, so you can't exactly ask Duret to move out of his way. But let's stay with Havoc and see what time he can put on the board. We have someone there off circuit getting out of the way. That was one of the AlphaTauris. Fair play to you for doing that. That's what we like to see. Okay, so coming round into the final hairpin now. Up onto the right-handed turn number 14. Get on that throttle as early as you can to make use of this straight line speed down the start-finish line. And a 1:17.381 up into third place there for Havoc. Okay, majority now coming round and pitting, ready for their second run. So just going to... Who do we have? MBB. If I went the other way, it would have been quicker. MBB coming into the pits. Kieran just coming out to put his okay, just reading the chat, it does look like Prize perhaps moved a little bit, tried to get back on circuit, didn't see the approaching car on the mini map. Sometimes it is difficult, but you've got to be so careful. And yeah, it looks like unfortunately he's tried to rejoin the track right in front of Havoc, which has caused both of them to retire from qualifying. So on a track that's notoriously difficult to overtake on, they really will have their work cut out to try and come back up the field. Okay, so Kieran now coming round. Hopefully the start his lap. Looks like he's run out of petrol, to be honest, going slowly, but Composite just up the road is now onto his opening lap, so we'll see what sort of time he's going to put on. Clear the screen a bit and they can see how he's doing. Okay, purple in sector 1 for Composite, so it is trying, it's starting to rubber in on the track, does get faster and faster here. So you really want to be doing your final run as late as possible. pretty much the same on most tracks, but certainly does rubber in a little bit more here at Hungary. Composite now coming around towards the end of the lap, so he's gone through sector 2. I think he's lost some time through there, so he's not going to be purple, but we'll see where he's going to sit on the grid. Place. So a good first sector, but didn't follow it through after that. Kieran now coming round the hairpin onto final turn number 14. It's a wide approach there. Only really works at the start of your lap, but a 17.926 there for Kieran, moving up into 6th place. I think MBB is next. Little bit of loss of traction on the back there, got a bit of a wiggle on, but we're going to come across 118.38, but that was an invalidation. He has shut his ERS off, so he is now going on to a lap, so I assume invalidated early on there. Okay, who else can we jump on with? We've got a yellow in the middle sector. I think that was just Skipper getting out of the way. Hans is on a lap and has invalidated, so we won't follow him. Prizephantom obviously out. Nerdy down on his timer, completely out of ERS. I think this is probably second one. Fast lap 16.820 by Kudor there. So times are tumbling now. So yeah, Nerdy 16.880. So very, very close to Hans. Hans obviously invalidating there, will be, or has shut his ERS off, so will be recharging. How is Connor doing? I think he's on a second out lap as well. He is. Right, okay, so let's jump on board with Hans, championship leader. We'll see if he can regain his provisional pole position. So Hans coming towards the end of sector 2. Let's see what his split is. Double disqualified for blocking the... Oh, I think he's spun coming in, and stupid game disqualifies him. But anyway, Hans has put in a purple sector 2, so we're looking at a provisional pole position time here from Hans. Can he abort? Sure, that would have been good enough to put him back on to provisional pole position. Havoc now crossing the line, 17.422, so no improvement on his own time there. Ralph also coming into the pits. I haven't seen much of Ralph today, actually. I missed him on his out lap, but I'm sure I'll catch up with him later. Jurek now on to a fast lap. It's the furthest round that we can jump on with. It's the Alpine of Kudor. He is on an in lap. And Nerdy is already in. Chef also on an in lap. Skipper next. That's not Skipper, but he's on an in lap anyway. Composite is on a second lap by the looks of it. He's now going to be pushing to go here. Good evening, Bog. Good to see you in the chat, sir. Hope the matches are going alright, and I hope somebody is streaming the footy, because I'd like to watch them afterwards. So if you do get bored of me and Division 5, which I'm sure nobody ever will do, but if you do, if you're obviously looking in the YouTube stream, we do have our FIFA team playing some matches tonight, so always good for the support to tune in and give them a bit of a jeering from the stands. Right, Jurek coming towards, well, coming around the last corner now. Puts it at 17.352, so drops him, pops himself up into 5th place. They're currently not looking too bad at all for the McLarens in 2nd and 5th, but you've also got the AlphaTauris in 3rd and 4th. Chef obviously with his tail flying high from last week after picking up his first victory. Well deserved as well. And Nerdy, we know, has the pace, just has had no luck at all this year. So missed a few races for personal reasons and just seems to be in the race. Certainly early on, seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time and loses quite a few places. But then comes back quite strongly normally and is a regular in the points. But I'd like to see him as a regular on the podium because I do think he has the pace here. So Hans now on to probably be his penultimate fastest lap. If he messes this one up, he probably can recharge and go again. Car in front getting out of the way, that's good to see. That's the helping of Kudor. Right, so Hans coming around now towards the end of Sector 2. We'll see what his time is there. Only needs to make up 200. He's up nearly half a second on his time, so this is going to be a low 16. I think this is going to be a stonker of a lap if he can just keep it together, which he does. Coming round towards turn number 14. Hits the brakes well, hugs that inside, gets on the throttle early, floors it, and we'll see what time, a 16.275. That is a flipping good time by Hans. I think that could be pole position buttoned up there. That could be doing a disservice to others, but that is a very handy time by Hans there. 16.2 I think would have put him within the top 6 in Division 4 yesterday. 16.8 by Nerdy there. So it keeps his time, sorry, he's onto his fast lap now, so we'll keep an eye on him. Kudor, the nearest to Hans. Validation. Oh, we have a Ferrari spun there. I'm not sure if that is a skipper or composite. But he should be able to get himself around and get another lap in. So Kudor now coming round turn number 14. Again, keeps a nice tight line onto the throttle earlier. Kisses the outside curb. 16.462, so he does improve again. Very, very handy lap that, but still 2/10 behind Hans, who is just got a rocket ship underneath him today. I did have a feeling he would be on it, but that is mighty impressive. So 35 seconds left of the session now. Nerdy improves to a 16.6, so improves on time, but unfortunately positions has not changed. Chef is currently in 4th. Can he improve and leapfrog his teammate? 17.299. Again, he has improved in time, but not within. Havoc jumping up into 4th place, actually splitting the AlphaTauris there. So a good lap by him. Who do we have next coming through? Pete, invalidation, aborting there, so he has invalidated, I believe, but yeah, aborting that lap. Kudor not going for a second lap, is he? No. So Ralph, can Ralph improve on an 18.1, currently down in 11th place. 17.842, so he does improve on time, just behind Skipper now, but doesn't improve on pace, on places, unfortunately. So that is pretty much the grid, because Nerdy's coming in. Havoc is no DRS. Skipper. Skipper has invalidated. So that is going to be our grid today. So Hans indeed takes pole position in Hungary with a 116.275. Second Kudor with a 116.462. So a handy 2/10 of a second quicker Hanslbua there. Then another 2.2 of a gap to the Alpha Tori of Nerdy. Chef JB did manage to just sneak into the 16s there with a 16.922, actually taking the place back from Havoc in the Mercedes, who had actually split the AlphaTauris at one point. So we have basically McLaren on pole position, Alpine second, then we've got a second row lockout for the AlphaTauris, a third row lockout for the Mercedes of Havoc and MBB. Then we have the second McLaren of Jurek in 7th. Brother Adam in 8th. Peter Pirate 9th. 10th Skipper. 11th Ralph. And 12th Composite. So we're just waiting for the session to time out now. And then we will have the classified positions up. And then we'll have a small interval whilst we wait for the drivers to select their setups and get ready for the Hungarian Grand Prix. So I don't know what the weather is going to be like. I haven't seen a weather forecast, whether somebody has told me and I've just not seen it. No. Right, okay, so let's run through this anyway. So Hanslbua taking pole position for McLaren with a 116.275. Kudor in second place. Then we have Nerdy in third. Chef JB in 4th place. Good position for him, I say, following up from last week's victory. He'll be on a high at the moment. Havoc in 5th. In 6th, we've got MBB. 7th, Jurek. And the rest of them I will run through when we are back on the grid.
We're live on the outskirts of the capital, Budapest, at a track that's extremely popular with both the fans and our drivers. I'm talking, of course, about the Hungaroring, and we're about to begin the Hungarian Grand Prix. We're northeast of Budapest for today's race at the 2.7-mile Hungaroring circuit. 14 corners here, 8 to the right and 6 to the left, on a track where downforce is king and passing is notoriously difficult.
Well, welcome back everybody. Oh, and now ready for the race. So we'll run through the grid, as I said, whilst we're watching the formation lap. So Hans taking pole position. Kudor in 2nd. In 3rd, we've got Nerdy 4th. Chef JB 5th. Havoc and 6th MBB. Then 7th Jurek and 8th Brother Adam. 9th Peter Pirate and 10th Skipper. 11th Ralph. 12th Composite. 13th Mighty Frax. 14th Prizephantom. 15th Kieran Trollface, and 16th is a double. So as a Prizephantom after that incident in qualifying, starting right the way down near the back of the grid, so he's got a lot to do to work his way up, needs to start closing the gap on Hans as quickly as he possibly can. I think there's 86 points available, I think, at the moment. And after this race it will be down to 60. Obviously with the sprint race to come in Canada, and then the season ending at Kota. So constructors as well. So a quick look at the constructors. McLaren leading the way on 171 points from Alfa Romeo on 138, level with Mercedes on 138 as well. So joint second basically. Aston Martin in fourth with 120 points. AlphaTauri in fifth with 98. Then we have Ferrari, Alpine, Williams, Haas and Red Bull in 10th place. Not often you see Red Bull in last place. So here we are now lining up, just waiting for the lights. Looks like we have a horrible camera angle again, but we have 5 lights. Lights are out and away we go, and it's very difficult to see who got a decent start there. I tell you who didn't get a decent start is Kudor. Got himself completely bogged down there. He's finding himself being a little bit swamped, just dropping down into 4th place. We have a car going wide. I think that was Durek. Nothing too major going on, unless I have missed it further down. But no, it doesn't look too bad going ahead. So let's just get the detail up of position changes. Prizephantom up quite a few places. Pete, what's happened to Pete? Pete? Pete's had an incident and lost his wing, and we have a virtual safety car on lap number 1. So at least it hasn't pulled out the full safety car, although I bet Pete probably is wishing that it did. So after settling down from the start, we are Hanslbua continuing in the lead, so getting away well in pole position. Chef JB making his way up from a 4th position into 2nd. Kudor dropping down 1 place. MBB also having a good start for the Mercedes team. Nerdy dropping down 2 places from 3rd to 5th, and Havoc down 1 place from 5th. Ralph, a big winner there, up 4 places, as well as Prizephantom already noticed is on the move. Up the inside of Durex, so up 6 places already. Oh, Nerdy just catching the inside there. Got to wait for everyone to go past. Unfortunately, they're Nerdy, but it's one of those tracks where there's so many corners that can catch you out here. It really is. But anyway, let's jump back to the battle. So Prizephantom is siding his way through, up 7 places already, obviously getting a free position there with Nerdy having an issue up at turn number 4. But Prize really looks like he wants to get on with this. Looks like he's got some severe pace around here. So is Prize going to look for the move up the inside? He doesn't, but looking further back, Skipper does make the move up the inside of Durek. So we are getting a few moves going on here, which is good to see. Just hoping that I don't miss any of them. I'm trying to keep an eye on all of the close battles. But as a Prize does look like he's the man on a mission at the moment. So we'll just keep an eye on him. So I'm hoping he's learnt a bit, just being a bit more patient and waiting for the move. This is the closest on track. We've got a few within sort of tenths of each other, but this one's just a couple of tenths. Keeping an eye on the battle just ahead as well. Because Havoc, I think, is trying to line up a move on his teammate MBB. Hanslbua now putting the pedal to the metal. Fry's got a much better exit there. But both with DRS just makes it so difficult. Fry's not able to make the move there, and if anything, he's dropped back a little bit towards Skipper. So they do call Hungary Monaco without walls. It is so difficult to overtake. I have to admit, Prize and Ralph both made a mockery of that so far. Ralph up 5 positions, Prize up 7 positions. I think that could swap round fairly shortly. Kudor also getting fairly close to the back of Chef JB. And Chef saying before the race he would love a bit of rain. So Prize does a go for the move, just breaks a little bit later there, not really giving Ralph a chance to turn in. Nice line onto the start finish line, picks up the DRS. Obviously we'll still have Ralph behind him that will be having DRS. He's got Skipper just behind him as well, so we've got some good little battles starting to show here for sort of 5th place or 4th, sorry, behind MBB. Brother Adam and the Mighty Frax exchanging positions there, so looks like no team orders between these two, other than probably don't take yourself off. Okay, so Havoc now really starting to put the pressure on his teammate, and he's having to with Prizephantom all over the back of him. That puts the pressure on, makes him run wide there. Havoc feeling the heat from Prize behind him. Ooh, Prize getting on the throttle just a little bit too early there, just getting a bit squirmy. Hopefully he hasn't lost too much, but I think he might just drop him out of that ability to make the overtake on this straight, so he just needs to use that DRS just to close up. Much later on the brakes there as well, so he's got a lot more trust in the car, I think, than the Mercedes drivers in front of him. And apologies, but I have missed Kudor getting past Chef. We have a safety car. Yeah, safety car is out. So that's down to Peter Pirate, I assume. I didn't even see him go out at all. Pete, I'm sorry, I've hardly covered you at all tonight and didn't even notice your retirement either. the back. So we have first safety car on lap number 6. Obviously we had the virtual safety car on lap number 1. Too early to come in and change tyres. I'd be surprised if anybody pits unless they have damage. So, the 1.5 second gap that Hans had is completely gone now. The field will bunch up. Prize up into 6th place, so 8 positions gained. So it's been a cracking opening, 6 or 7 laps from him. Composite and Frax have come in and put hard tyres on now, so they're going to be taking those 28 laps. It's a stretch. No penalties so far, that's good to see. The Mercedes still in 4th and 5th. Both up a place. I think they were 5th and 6th on the grid, so working their way up a place, obviously at the demise of poor old Nerdy, who's currently down in excuse me, down in 13th place. Prax is coming in. He's going to put a set of mediums on, so he'll be stopping again. Certainly won't take... Well, I'd say certainly won't. I have heard of the mediums going 25 laps, I think in Division 0, I think No Jug was saying. So it would be possible, it would be a stretch, but... Won't put anything past some of these drivers, to be honest with you. For any of those that are listening that are interested, Man U currently 1-0 down to Barcelona. Okay, so safety car is coming in this lap. Hanslbua will become the de facto pace car. When is he gonna go? There's 2 places, either go now and get the jump, or it is pretty much out of the final corner. And he's gone. And MBB making a move on Kudor there. Nerdy making up a place as well. Composite not having such a good start, so the Ferrari's currently in the last 2 places. So Hanslbua getting a good jump there on Kudor, nearly pulling it out to that second. Obviously 2 laps before the DRS is enabled. After a safety car, we have Havoc looking for the move. Inside there, got Ralph just behind as well. Ralph itching to get past. A little bit too much curve there by Havoc, just unsettling the car ever so slightly. Who do we have close enough that he's likely to go for a move? It's possible of Nerdy, but I think again just too far back. So we jump back up here to the battle currently for 3rd place, or well, 2nd place. Kudor getting 1.6 seconds up the road. Hands so far with a handy 1.5 second lead, so he's certainly finding a little bit of form again, coming back into the last 3 races of the season. So had a poor couple. Well, I mean, I think he missed the last race, so he was absent. So that was poor for him. But he was off watching his beloved football team play, so he can't knock a live football match, to be honest with you. The week before, I think he didn't finish in Silverstone. Was crashed into. And taken out of the race, basically. So yeah, so it's good to see him back at the front. 1.6 second roughly lead at the moment. The rest of it seems quiet. We're sort of settling into that train. Prize just pulling out to let Chef know that he's there. I'm sure Chef knows he is there. Havoc just behind, but we are very, very close from position 4 all the way down to position number 11. Oh, and we have a spinner there. That is MBB. Unfortunately, I think he caught the curb of death, so he is going to need to rejoin. They will probably get a penalty for skipping the corner. Doesn't, from what I can see, which is good. So, right, he can get back on it, but that's not what he would have wanted at all. Nerdy up into 9th place. I managed to get past Kieran as well on that one. All over the back of brother Adam. Kieran sticking his nose in there, just letting Nerdy know that he's still about. Right, the front Kudor is edging that gap down. We're now under a second, so he is within DRS. Price now got some heat into those tyres, I think. A bit too much going over there. Oh, Kudor picking up a time penalty. Very, very unfortunate. So 3rd of the way through the race, MBB picking up a time penalty now. So we're now starting to see some of the penalties appear. We have a yellow in Sector 2. Why do we have a yellow in Sector 2? Because we have somebody spun off, which was Kieran. this is where it's at the moment, which is the battle for P3 from Chef JB, Prizephantom, Havoc, Connor and Ralph. Duret not too far behind either, with Brother Adam and about a second behind him. And Phantom has gone for the move and quite easily past Chef JB. To be honest with you, I was wondering whether Havoc was going to stop there or not. So yeah, I think Price getting a fantastic drive out of turn number 14 onto the start-finish line, obviously using DRS and ERS to get past Chef, who didn't have DRS at all. It's not going to have it this lap either, because he's already dropping a second behind Chef. So I think he's starting to struggle on those tyres now. 13 laps. Normally looking at about 16 laps. But completely manageable to come in now and take a set of hards to the end of the race. But Prize has disappeared up the road, 1.5 seconds clear now, 4.8 behind Kudor, who is still hounding Hans, who is going to be the first to pit. Certainly not going to be Prize. He's quite happy with those tyres, the way that they are at the moment. Ralph giving not a bad drive out of the far, but just not enough. But Havoc does get the drive on Chef JB, again down to the fact that Chef didn't have the DRS, so it was pretty much a sitting duck, unfortunately, down the start finish line. So Havoc up into 4th, and will be going on the hunt for Prizephantom, so still very much in the championship. I think looking at the moment, the top 4 in the race are, well, the top 4 in the standings that are still racing. Obviously we have Kurznikov, who's currently still in 2nd place, but has left racing for the season, so he won't be improving on that points total. So we will be looking at a new 2nd place today. Havoc picking up a 3-second penalty as well, going very wide, losing a place to Chef JB. So after all that hard work of getting past Chef on the start finish line, right, keep an eye on this battle at the front. As I said, we got close. It's close in quite a few. Nerdy very close to the back of Brother Adam. We've got Jurek on the back of Ralph, who's on the back of Connor, who's on the back of Chef. Do not want to miss a overtake for the lead if I can help it. I've already missed Kudor overtaking, can't remember who it was he overtook earlier, for 2nd place. I think it was Chef. I think Chef JB was in 2nd place at the time, so I missed that overtake for Kudor there. Ralph, what's up with Ralph? Oh, Ralph. Turn number 4. And we have a virtual safety car, is that? It's not a safety car. Yeah, virtual safety car. So Kudor taking the incentive to pit underneath the virtual safety car. That is going to save him some time. That's quite a smart move, to be honest with you. Prize doing exactly the same. So Hans might lose out on this. It looks like we are going to have a dry race. Frack's picking up a drive-through penalty there. Did anybody else pick one up? Quick look. So the Frax is serving it now. Chef JB picking one up as well. Oh, Jesus, just gone from bad to worse for him, really. Right, let's put the tyres up so at least we can see what is going on. But hands. Now this is going to be interesting because I think Kudor is going to jump him here. Let's jump with Kudor because this is the input. Yeah, he's going to jump him. So is MBB. Oh, he's going to lose so much time, so many positions. Is he going to miss out to... Comes out just ahead of Prize. So yeah, he's only lost the one position, but he has obviously lost track positions. But once everybody pits, he will be into second place. So Kudor making the tactic work of pitting under the virtual safety car. Havoc probably kicking himself for not seeing that. So Prize now on the charge on a fresh set of hards. Prize looking absolutely desperate to get past Hands in front. Obviously Hands on the colder tyres, so it takes a lap or sort of a lap or two roughly to get the heat into the hard compound tyres. Frack's picking up a 3-second time penalty. There's going from bad to worse for him after that drive through as well, which has dropped him to the back of the grid. Obviously Chef JB. Bit brave there. No, up the inside. No, it's not going to work. Right, so anyway, Prize up into 6th place. So a bit of an aggressive move into turn number 2. And we're certainly late on the brakes. But got the overtake done. There was no contact, so I say it was a bit aggressive, but I think it was fair. We have a yellow in sector 2. And Hans and Brother Adam. Oh shit. Oh, I fucking believe it. Oh, Hans. Right, Havoc pits, Durek pits, everybody's going to pit now that is on the hards to come onto the mediums. MBB will do the same, so we are... Who's going to take the lead? Havoc? No, Kudor, of course. Kudor with that 3-second penalty. I missed what happened in the background there. Hands just saw him going sideways. Obviously, it looks like there was some contact, perhaps with Brother Adam, whether Hands lost it and Brother Adam just collected him. I cannot comment on that one, but all I can say is that is a huge shame, because I honestly think we were heading towards a pretty good battle with Kudor, Prize and Hands, and unfortunately that has been taken away from us. So, unfortunately, we are under safety car number 2, so we had a virtual safety car, 2 virtual safety cars now actually, and 2 safety cars. This incident, unfortunately, down to Hanslbua and brother Adam having an incident. As I say, I'm not quite sure what happened, but I can see that a finger is being pointed in one direction. But as I say, very unfortunate. I think we were heading down to a very good 3-way battle on hard tyres for the last sort of 15 laps of the race. But alas, that has been taken away from us. But Kudor leading the way, as I say, making the tactical decision to pit under the virtual safety car when Hans didn't, and actually worked out well for Kudor, although safety car now has bumped the field up, but he did manage to get track position and take what would have been the lead of the Grand Prix once everybody had made their pit stops. Prize is fighting his way through the grid, so I think 14th he started and is now up to 2nd. As I say, has oodles of pace on a track that's notoriously difficult to overtake on. He has made it pretty simple, to be honest with you. So it was a brother Adam unsafe rejoin. Apparently that caused Hans's retirement. I think I might have been looking at the data screen at the time, but it's unfortunate. But hopefully people will learn from that. But safety car is in this lap, and we are, I think, gonna have a shootout between Kudor, Prizephantom and Havoc. Obviously Havoc on fresh mediums, so they will easily go towards the end of the Grand Prix. They're going to be a lot grippier for the opening sort of 6 or 7 laps, and then they'll probably equal out with the hard tyres. But Jurek also on the medium, so we are go. So a good start there from Kudor. Prize pulling out to try and just break the slipstream to Havoc behind. MBB making a Prize is out. Oh shit. Oh fuck god. Oh god. Oh my. Absolute havoc there. We've lost Chef and we've lost Prize in that one. We're not going to get a safety car because we have just had one. Skipper picking up a penalty there for ignoring blue flags. So it is just shit just hit the fan there, to be honest. In the space of a couple of laps we have lost Hans and we have lost Prize. This is going to fall right into Kudor's hands. If he can win this, it's going to push him up into 2nd place in the championship, and obviously closing that gap on Hans at the moment. I think the gap at the moment between the two of them is 31 points. So if Kudor can pick this up, it would be grand. I'm just having a quick look back on the stream just to see if I can figure out at all what the hell happened to Prize there. Oh my god, sorry, I've just literally seen the Hans one, and brother Adam literally just drives straight back onto the track and takes him out. That is, I'm sorry brother Adam, but that is ridiculous driving. You really need to improve on that. Although it was on my screen, I completely missed it. Right, anyway, back to what we currently have. We still couldn't actually get a sight of what happened to Prize there. But I'm sure we will hear all about it in the chat. So we are down to 11 drivers. Kudor leading Jurek in second place in that McLaren on the medium compound tyres. MBB dropping just a bit further back now in third place in the Mercedes. And hello, have a look at this. Nerdy, after opening issues and crappy start to the race, you know, the opening sort of like 5-6 laps for him, find himself back up in the fourth place now. Hans, good to see you in the chat, mate. Sorry I'm chatting to you. It would have been nice to have been congratulating you at the end, but very, very unfortunate there. Great race today, great pace. Bounce back next week, mate. Sprint race, so lots of points to be had. Chef, not quite sure what happened to you, but again, good to see you in the chat. Which I think maybe tied up in that Prizephantom. It'd be good to actually know what happened there. Okay, so field has pretty much spread out now. A couple of close battles. Jurek obviously staying just on the back of Kudor within DRS range. So still 12 laps to go, including the one that we are on. Havoc as well down in 11th place. So it all changed. I mean, there was one point we had all of the top 4 in the title, but in the top 4 in the race. And I mean, if we look at it now, we've got Prizes out, Hans is out, Havoc's down in 11th. Kudor is the only one that has benefited in any way from this. Okay, so Nerdy, 4th place, 1.7 seconds behind, but he has no pens whatsoever. So let's bring up the penalties and see who has what. So 3 seconds for the 2 at the front, so obviously they will still be fighting for that victory. Nerdy just needs to try and get that gap down if he can. If he can get himself within 3 seconds of the leader, he could actually catapult. Could you imagine that? After that first race, just how first few laps, just how bad it was, what position he was in, that he can actually, I mean, at the moment he could be sitting on the podium, but he could well pop himself up into contention. We will wait and see. Skipper still all over the back of Ralph, although Ralph clean of penalty. Skipper does have a penalty. So sometimes it is wise to let someone past if they are putting too much pressure on you. Oh, bit of a snap there from Skipper. Manages to collect it. Whether he picked up a warning there or not, I'm not sure, but still keeps on the back of Ralph. Kieran as well closing on the back of Skipper's teammate Composite in 8th place. I'll snap back to that in a minute because just as I do that, Kieran loses himself a couple of tenths. Skipper looking for the move up the inside of Ralph. A bit tentative there. think maybe could have sent it, but it's good to see that he hasn't. So he knows he is quicker, so it's just lining it up and wait for the move. Kieran now again closing on to the back of Composite. It's the soft V or the medium V, the hard tyres. MBB picking up another time penalty. It's certainly going to lose him third place. Kieran now looking for the move around the outside going into turn number 1 on Composite. They give each other lots of room there. They were side by side, but I think Composite keeps the place, which he does. So the only two battles in the race at the moment are coming from the two Ferraris. Obviously we have Composite defending from the Williams of Kieran Trollface, but we also have Skipper just up the road in 6, who is all over the back of the Red Bull of Ralph Albers, looking to try and get up into that 5th place, but he does have that penalty, whereas Ralph, as we have said before, doesn't have any. Composite in front is flashing away on his ERS there, so he has absolutely wasted it out to nothing, used absolutely everything to try and keep himself ahead of Kieran. I'm not quite sure how Kieran's is. But this could be an overtake on the start-finish line here. Composite will have no ERS, whereas Kieran will have ERS and DRS, and here we go, looking at making the move up the inside there. Composite giving the room and keeping it clean, conceding the place. Unfortunately, with Kieran now up into 7th place, Composite down into 8th. Does mean we can concentrate a bit more on this battle for 6th place with Skipper. I'm also keeping an eye on the lead. Kudor 1.2 seconds clear of Durex, so he's just managed to pull out of that DRS detection zone. Skipper making a small mistake there, I think, going through turns 8 and 9, just losing a little bit of time. So again, he has now dropped out of DRS detection, so he is not going to have it down this start-finish line either. Here we are, Kieran just under 6.5 seconds behind, so that gap's come down from about 8 already. So lap number 29, 7 laps including the one that we are on. 6 laps including the one that we're on. So quite an eventful race, to be honest with you. As I say, we had looked at one point like we were going to have a humdinger of an ending to this, with, as I say, the top 4 protagonists in the championship battle, all in positions 1 to 4, but unfortunately down to an incident. Hanslbua was taken out. Prize, as I say, I'm not quite sure what happened with that. I think it was an incident perhaps with JB. Whether it was a spin, someone was to blame, don't know. I'm sure I'll catch up on that later. But through all of that, Kudor has just been unnerved, to be honest with you. He's, as I say, made the pit stop at the right time on the virtual safety car. Just jumping Hans there. I think Hans was probably caught in two minds. Might have been a bit late for him to actually turn in. But nevertheless, Kudor came in. Hans came in on the next lap, and unfortunately the difference under the virtual safety car, Kudor had jumped Hans. Skipper now back within the DRS zone of Ralph. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give it a little bit of time to Nerdy, because he deserves it. I mean, looking again at the penalties, let's have a quick look. So 9 seconds. So Nerdy is looking at a podium after being literally in last position. I think about 30-40 seconds behind at one point. Just goes to show that you don't give up. Right, just having a quick read of the chat. Thank you, Chef, for letting me know. Incident with Prize was Prize had spun on cold tyres in turn one. Unfortunately, Chef not having any. Well, Jesus Christ, that was MBB in the way we as I was describing an incident, we nearly had exactly the same thing there. So Nerdy up into P3 by rights now. But yeah, anyway, unfortunately turn one looks like Prize spun on cold tyres. Unfortunately Chef had nowhere to go, so that was the end of him. And Hans, yeah, as we have seen now, was taken out by an unsafe rejoin to track. It was good I actually caught it on the camera, but just wasn't watching the screen. So can Nerdy just creep the gap down a bit on... Why do we have a yellow? Who's yellow? I think there's someone just getting out of the way. I think it's Frax just getting out of the way, to be honest with you. Right, so... Okay, yeah, I mean, if Nerdy could pull that gap down to 3 seconds... to Jurek, he could be looking at a second place. And obviously if one of the front two do manage to pick up another penalty, anyway, so Skipper still staring at the backside of that Red Bull. Ralph has had quite a big arse for Skipper in this race. Does not manage to get past him. He's followed him for about the last sort of 10-15 laps. Just not able to squeeze himself past. Havoc now closing in on composite. Obviously looking damage limitations for Havoc, trying to recover as many points as he can. In all fairness, he's going to be closing up on Prize and Hans, whatever happens. Skipper's out. Skipper's shit. Skipper start finish line. Don't think we're going to have a safety car this late on. But yeah, unfortunately Skipper, I think, probably pushing it just a little bit too hard. Oh, and here is Havoc making the move on composite, so not a good start finish line there for the Ferrari team. Obviously losing Skipper and composite losing a position down into 8th. So Havoc up into 7th now, obviously with Skipper's retirement. So now it's a matter of if you finish the race, you will score points. Only 10 runners left from the 16 that started the race. Peter Pirate going out early on, as unfortunately missing what happened there. Brother Adam and Hanslbua coming together in, where was it, turn 8 or 9 I think it was. And then Prize losing it in turn 1 on cold tyres, unfortunately leaving Chef nowhere to go. And those were the retirements there. Skipper then just losing, I think, probably on worn tyres going onto the start finish line. Probably got on the power just a little bit too early, and the tyres didn't want to know, which has then thrust him into the wall. But penultimate lap. Okay, so Kudor coming around now to start his final lap of the race. Let's jump on board with him for the last lap. Just keep an eye on what's going on behind, make sure nothing silly. We have a yellow in sector 2, but I think that was double, just getting out of the way of everybody. Ralph and MBB exchanging positions, so I think MBB might have had a spin again, struggling a bit on those tyres towards the end of the race. So Ralph up into 4th place, so a solid race again from Ralph in 4th. Yep, so at the front, I'm going to jump back with him because he is on, obviously, the final half a lap now. So Kudor, as I say, taking the lead from the pitting under the virtual safety car, jumping ahead of Hans before, obviously, the shit hit the fan, so as to speak. But Kudor made the right move, got himself into the lead, and is now coming round turn number 13, ready onto turn number 14 for the start-finish line to take another victory. I think it's his 2nd of the season, and will put him firmly back into the championship hunt. Jurek will come home in 2nd, so bringing home good points for the McLaren team. Nerdy, fantastic recovery after where you were, buddy. Well done. Ralph is going to come home in 4th. I'm just seeing what's happening between Kieran and that behind. But yeah, Ralph is going to come home in 4th position. 5th is going to be Kieran. In 6th is MBB. Is he going to keep that with the penalties from his teammate in 7th? Yeah, he does. So he comes home in 7th. Composite will come home in 8th after an eventful race for him, just dropping off slightly at the end. I think the tyres probably a bit too much for him. Mighty Facts in 9th, and the last finisher and point scorer was double. Driver today going to Kieran Trollface there. I would have to disagree with that. Obviously made up the most amount of places, which is why the game gave it to him. Driver of the day, it's a difficult one. I mean, Kudor, so made a good strategy move, was pretty much there on pace for the whole race. But I'm going to go, probably a bit controversial in a way, but I'm going to go for Nerdy as my driver of the day. As I say, a good qualifying, but then early on encountered trouble, which popped him, unfortunately, to the back of the grid. But then coming home still to pick up a podium in 3rd place. Obviously, other people's misfortunes and safety cars, but you have to be in it to win it. So... The winner for the Alpine team is Kudor. In second, we have Jurek for McLaren, and Nerdy bringing home third place for AlphaTauri. Then we have Ralph in fourth, Kieran in fifth. In sixth, we have MBB. In seventh, Composite. Eighth, Havoc. Ninth, the Mighty Frax. And 10th, double fastest lap going to Havoc with a 119.472. So he'll get the extra point there as well. Non-finishes Skipper, unfortunately, crashing on the start-finish line late on with 4 laps to go. Chef JB crashing into Prizephantom, who lost it out of turn number 1. Hanslbua was taken out by a rejoin from brother Adam. And Peter Pirates, I say, I completely missed what happened to him, but that was very early on, so not the best of races for him. So Kudor will close the gap at the top of the championship, I think, down to about 6 points. So going into the last 2 races, we still have absolutely everything to play for. I hope you've enjoyed today. We'll be back next week at Canada, Montreal, where we will have a sprint race as well. So obviously more points to pay for there. 33 for... well, 8 for the victory in the sprint race, 25 in the race, and obviously 1 for the fastest lap if you qualify for that. So points still obviously available, going to be close at the top. I look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place on Thursday, but don't forget to tune in on Tuesday and Wednesday at 8 o'clock for our other divisions. And I look forward to seeing you next Thursday.